Just making sure everything's running smooth. Everything's running smooth. What's up, guys? I haven't seen you guys in a minute. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys for watching and showing love, especially to my last video on Kanye. I appreciate all the comments and I appreciate all the love you guys showed towards all that. And I hope you guys check out my last video and just keep running it up. You feel me? But yeah, I just wanted to start off and say I appreciate you guys. So how you guys doing? How's y'all weekend and everything? I hope it was good. I had some fun. I had some fun. But I was mainly working on the channel. You feel me? Because I said my New Year's resolution was that I was gonna keep working on the channel. I dropped the ball for a little bit, but now we back. Now it's full throttle. So as you can see today, we have a reaction. I was gonna do like a reaction plus a gameplay night, but I ain't gonna hold you guys. I don't got that much time right now. But we'll see. If things go good, we can bring it up to 2 streams a week. But right now, I'm just gonna be working on the 1 video, 1 stream per week type thing. But I appreciate you guys for watching and shit. Oh, it's all of that. But yeah, right now we have a no jumper video. I was gonna make a video about this, but I feel like it would be way too long, and I feel like it would be better if I watched one of these videos. The video is by Matty B Balls, so just show him some appreciation to his videos. But yeah, I made a video to this before. It was super long. But yeah, it was super long. But I just started ranting about how hip hop media has been, and not only just hip hop media, just media in general. Like, I'll be the first to tell you, I wasn't surprised when I found out all of this. I was not surprised whatsoever, because I saw this kind of coming. There are certain signs that you start to see, especially with a lot of platforms or like just famous people. They seem to hit like a kind of like they're in a groove while they're on the come up, but then they start to plateau. And usually at that time, people either don a new persona or people start doing like really grimy shit. You know what I'm saying? Especially like in this age where people want to stay relevant 24/7, they had to keep up in the ante. They had to keep doing wild shit, like wilder than the last, and they keep on going and keep on going and keep on going. And then especially if they come from hard places, they usually start like spending like a whole like boatload of money on nonsense, like absolute nonsense. But yeah, I'm sorry about my voice and everything. I'm a little bit sick, but I appreciate you guys for watching, and for you guys who are going to watch later on. I love y'all for that, man. Anyway, let's watch.
Be one of the best podcasts to get connected with your favorite up-and-coming artists in the underground. From interviews with artists like XXXTentacion and Juice WRLD to putting out music videos for up-and-coming artists, they had one of the biggest and best platforms in hip-hop. But fast forward to 2025, and Adam22, the owner of No Jumper, just put out a video claiming that they are going broke.
So there's something that I've been hiding from you guys. No Jumper is going broke.
On April 2nd of 2025, Adam22 posted a video on the No Jumper channel titled No Jumper is Going Broke. He started off by describing how much money he wasted by trying to grow and creating all of these expenses for himself, even though...
Like, let me be clear and honest, right? When it comes to Adam22, personally, I don't really mess with his content and everything. But I'll be a liar to say that I didn't tune in to some like interesting interviews because I wanted to know what was going on, with the whole music scene and everything. But I one thing I can give him something over like someone like Vlad or like a Rosenberg is that he puts a lot of people on. I can't lie. He puts a whole ton of people on. And especially coming from where I come from, that means a whole lot cuz in in our area like you will not find someone doing this. Like people usually want to hoard any clout, any opportunities to make it big. They just want to hoard it. They don't want to share. They don't want to put anybody on because they're afraid of someone might outclass them or someone might succeed ahead of them. And I think that's the main issue over here in Jersey. That's the main issue. Because you don't got that in New York. New York, like, it's a concrete jungle, but at least there's a community right there. You feel me? There's a community. And usually, if one artist makes it, they're going to put somebody else on in their crew. But Jersey, you don't have that shit. Jersey, what happens is they might get bubbling, they get hated on in their own neighborhood, and just in Jersey generally, and they go out somewhere like Atlanta or they go to New York and they start jacking that. Like I know a couple artists who've done that, and honestly, I don't blame them. I really don't blame them because it's a crab in the bucket mentality over here. It sucks, but I gotta give it to him. He do put a bunch of people on, especially when it comes to hip hop. He puts so many people on. It's crazy.
The views were never that great.
We expanded too much during COVID at just about the exact moment that our revenue streams all took.
Drink your
We
water.
hired a whole bunch of editors and other employees, and we bought a huge office building that cost us almost $4 million, thinking that the
Damn.
growth that we were experiencing during the pandemic was going to continue. And unfortunately,
I ain't gonna lie. It's pretty smart. It's pretty smart because during the pandemic, I would have said it's the best time to do streaming or just YouTube or just anything because everybody was stuck at home and there was nothing to do other than literally be on your phone or just watch something. Like I'm pretty sure like Netflix and Disney Plus and all that other stuff, they were popping at that time. I'm pretty sure.
that did not happen. Our YouTube numbers, which had doubled or even tripled, gradually returned to normal. Our Snapchat and Facebook numbers, which had exploded during COVID, sometimes even hitting six figures a month, shrank by about 80% or more. Our Patreon, which was absolutely killing it for a year or two when we were doing uncensored, aka nude interviews with up-and-coming superstars like...
Okay, this is a crazy place to pause, but like, come on, let me play it a little bit.
Fell
Okay.
off quite a bit with the launch of Plug Talk and a deep...
Yeah, this is when I just stopped really messing with them, bro. If you know the lore deep behind with the game and all this, you would understand that this is just not a good situation. You feel me? When you start adding like outlandish stuff from just the norm of relationship and everything, when you start adding nonsense like this, man, and then people wonder why they get divorced or people wonder why like certain things happen to people like this, you know what I mean? You're just inviting bad energy and just bad vibes all together when you start going into like this crazy debauchery, bruv. It's crazy.
increased interest in seeing us interview stars.
He also wanted to talk about how big of a hit the channel took when all of his hosts were leaving. Adam continued to say that the No Jumper Instagram account was actually taken down, which also seems like a huge cash flow source for them. On top of all this, he also said that they're being sued by a former employee, which is also very expensive for him. Adam said that because of all this, they had to lay off a bunch of their staff. They're trying to sell their multi-million-dollar warehouse that they just moved into like 2 years ago, and they also have to close their store. Regardless, it seemed like this whole video was made basically so that Adam could just get some sympathy and ask fans to support.
But I honestly spent pretty much all of my time trying to create as much content as possible with No Jumper, and I can't really justify doing so unless the fundamentals of the business make sense. It was a big decision to share this stuff with you guys, but at a certain point I realized that I've been honest with the world about just about everything in my life over the years, and it felt wrong to keep all this stuff that we've been dealing with in secret. So I know what you're thinking, what can you do to help? Well, I do have some ideas, which I'll sort into 3 categories here: free, cheap, and generous.
And if you guys look at the like to dislike ratio or see what people are commenting, people aren't being too supportive. But you're probably wondering, why do people not feel bad for Adam22? And
I'll answer you this real quick. One, because he started flexing when he had don't get me wrong, it's not wrong to flex and all that other shit, but it's just weird coming from him. Especially when you learn about his background and everything. And then just the stuff that he allowed himself to get into from I think underage kids, and just all around weirdo behavior. That's personally the reason why I can't really rock with him. Also, it's kind of like that thing I have against some YouTubers or just social media people going into the hood and just trying to gain content from it, and then especially when someone dies or something, and they just start recording everything and just start. It's kind of like the people who are in the video, I really don't like them, because I feel like they're literally getting made fun of in front of their faces. Like when you get a dude who's never been in any situation, who had it easy their entire life type shit, and then they go into a poverty stricken area, and then they want to kind of put on the mask or facade of being oh, I'm hard like that. It's corny, but hella people will eat it up. Man. That shit's sad, but it is what it is. But basically, he was doing all that shit, and then also recently he tried putting out this coin or something, those rug pull coins that celebrities pull. They'll get you to buy it, and they'll sell you on hey, you can make millions of dollars. I'm doing this because I love my fans type shit. Man, shut the fuck up, bro. Y'all love manipulating people into doing shit that's not good for them, and then flexing on them same people. It makes no sense.
No Jumper. Why are their finances so bad? Why did they hire all these people and have to lay them off? And you may even be wondering what happened to the original No Jumper style of content. Well, to best understand that, I think it's important to look at No Jumper's origins. Originally, No Jumper began as a YouTube channel / podcast involved in the BMX community. It was created by Adam22, who owned a BMX store and was very involved. He also had some friends that were underground rappers, such as Xavier Wolf. He decided to interview some of his friends, which got some views, so he continued interviewing more and more underground rappers. Quickly, he started getting guests like Black Cray, Gangsta Boo, Puya, Suicide Boys, and many more. And what made his podcast so appealing at the time was it felt really underground. Not only was he talking to underground artists, but the whole DIY setup and great conversations just made it feel like a really good way to connect to your favorite artists. He interviewed tons of underground artists, was vlogging concerts, and even posting music videos for artists like Lil Peep 10 years ago. He got Yachty, Maxo, Cream, Danny Duncan, Larry June, Andy Milonakis, and tons of others. But probably his most iconic interview, and the one that blew him up the most, was his interview with XXXTentacion, right as he was about to blow up. This interview was an hour and 20-minute insight into the life of a crazy, mysterious, and controversial.
Yeah, this is around the time I started watching him too. I remember a little bit about this interview. I used to fuck with it so hard.
Artist who was exploding onto the scene. After this, Adam was able to lock in with tons of people from Riley Reid to Nadeshot for whatever reason. Honestly, if you can think of anybody who was coming up in the last decade, Adam probably interviewed them. Adam was posting vlogs on NoJumper, and like I said, everything felt very DIY. But over time, he went on to bigger artists, he got a new studio, and upgraded pretty much everything. From like 2015 to 2016,
I haven't
he got a
seen
new
that dude in
studio
so
and
long. Y'all remember this dude? Yeah, not gonna lie. I don't know if he like, or pre. I don't know if he, got caught. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But this dude is the dumbest. This dude was trying to teach you how to, like, outpace a gun. This is like Steven Seagal level of troll. I hope this dude wasn't real, because if he for real, like, he probably led to a couple of cases being caught. Yeah, man, I really do miss that era of the internet. This dude, what's his name, Doug or something? I forgot, but this dude, yeah, we gotta do an update video about this guy.
upgraded pretty much everything. From like 2015 and 2016 to like 2020, NoJumper was one of the leading, most important media platforms in rap. They helped to break so many
Scallywags.
artists, posted tons of music videos, and behind the scenes for big artists in the game. They were also doing news on other platforms like Instagram, which was probably really helpful for their income. NoJumper also just had a ton of viral moments in their podcast, which helped them to explode.
Wow, Adam, big boy.
Oh. What in the world? Oh, okay.
Shout out to the homie Boom.
Nah. Those of you who know, homie Bunk. Yeah, no, I think his name is John Gabbana. Gave his life over to Christ, and now he's preaching the word. I respect that. See, stories like that, I could definitely respect. There are a few of them in like content like this, and I'm not one to just be like, yo, you guys all gotta do good. You guys gotta be perfect. I'm holier than thou. I'm better than everybody else. It's not even a situation like that. My thing is when people feel like they're stuck and just stay stuck. That's my thing. But homie probably saw this video like 1,000 times and realized the way he was going like wasn't it, and he fixed everything like that. So I gotta appreciate a person like that, man. Only hope Adam could be like that one day. Yeah, this was crazy.
And don't worry, by the way, Boonk is doing much better now, so you guys don't need to worry about that. However, it seemed
Word.
like eventually chasing viral moments would be what led to NoJumper's downfall. I think what marks the beginning of the end for NoJumper was episode 1 of the NoJumper show. On July 25th of 2019, they aired the first episode
I remember
featuring
this.
Camgirl and Housephone. Housephone in particular had been really tight with Adam since the beginning of NoJumper. They already had started podcasts on NoJumper, but this was the first one where it seemed like Adam tried to take it seriously. And after this, it really just opened the floodgates for tons of new podcasts, hosts, and guests to come. A Compton rapper by the name of AD got his own podcast. Then Housephone got his own podcast. These guys would either do live shows or just pre-recorded shows, and eventually the more and more they brought their friends on, the NoJumper cast grew a ton. It went from Adam and Housephone and a few others to eventually dozens of people with shows or just regularly occurring appearances on the platform.
Damn, Casey, most of these people left. I just realized, I think the last like collective like this was probably Complex. Yeah, it was Complex. Complex was the last one like this. But I don't even, or I do know what happened to Complex started having a lot of legal issues, and they started acting weird and shit. But yeah, nah, I won't even lie. Like, my whole thing, even before I started my own channel, I used to do content with other content creators, but either here or there, things happen, and yeah, I got some story times coming out soon. But yeah, I always wanted to start something like this, like a whole media company with different shows and just chill shit. Because I saw other people doing shit like that. And I used to wonder, I think even academics tried doing something like that, but I don't know if his full heart was in that. But yeah, I would love if somebody would start something like that on this side. But it is what it is, man.
Two specific additions to the No Jumper
Oh,
cast,
crap,
Cripman
man.
as a personality and the Thoughts Next Door podcast
Ew.
would open up a lot of
Ugh.
doors
Trees. Trees. Ugh.
to a lot of problems that No Jumper would eventually face.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. If y'all remember that whole saga with with her and all the rappers and academics and shit, bro, my faith in humanity started lowering ever since I got introduced to this one. My faith in people just started was in the trash, in the sewers. Ugh, I hate gutter bunnies, bro. What the hell?
Regardless, though, throughout the 2020s, Adam had tons of
fake
people
pimp.
hosting their own shows or collabing on shows like Lush, Flacco, Brick Baby, T-Rel, AD, Sharp, and plenty of others. They also had the No Jumper Sports podcast, which is funny because the host Kiki got a tattoo of the logo just for it to be canceled after 15 episodes. But you may be noticing something. A lot of these names are not familiar. Unless you're super deep into rap or this sort of content, it's likely that you are not familiar with a lot of the people that he was trying to bring on and replace himself with. Old fans of the No Jumper channel likely were not really interested in watching tons of random people talk about random things when originally they subscribed for underground rap content or interviews with rappers or Adam talking to rappers or vlogging and things like that. You guys probably don't even know this, but like 2 years ago, they even invited me to join them on the news, and I think that just goes to show they're inviting anybody. Like, why would I? Who wants to watch me on No Jumper, right? Nobody. So,
Well, to that, I'll say you never know, man. Because the thing I liked about hip hop is, even though it was started by like African American or Black Americans, it's still like the main central like message of everything was, hey, this we're talking about all the stuff that we're seeing, that we're going through. We know it's not right, but it's how we like actually live type shit. You know what I mean? But it was just a thing where everybody kind of had a voice to like kind of vent about everything, and if you could really hang with people, then you were cool, you were okay. If you weren't trying to act like your whole life, like just basically if you weren't trying to put on a facade of something that you weren't, you know what I mean? Like me, generally, I could say me and my brother, we grew up in the hood and we understood what that meant. But like after a little bit later, we moved to like a more suburban place, you feel me? And we still remember our time and all the things, having fun in the hood and shit. But when we go to the suburbs, it's a whole different thing. We started seeing people who acted like we started seeing people claim the city that we used to be in, even though they lived in the suburbs their entire life, and it kind of came as like another culture shock, because we didn't know people actually did that corny shit. But yeah, everyone's voice could be listened to, you feel me, if you're bringing some actual facts and you just not hopping over to the culture just because you're trying to be a poser or just because someone else thought it was cool and you're just riding trends. I always say the worst thing for any group of people or just movement is to have it become a trend, because trends come and die, like especially now, super easily, and you don't want your message to become a trend, because you get culture vultures just trying to dive into all that shit. and then originally the thing that you set out to do, or the mission that you had in the beginning, it gets corrupted by people who don't care about your mission. But everyone's invited. Everyone's invited, man. That's also why I want to start over here too. I want to start having guests and all that, because I know you guys don't want to hear me speak like 24/7 all the time. But having different voices is it's always important, you know? And like people always say, diversity is just not like, oh, you're black, you're Asian, you're Hispanic, you're this, you're that. It's diversity of that and diversity of opinions too, of mindsets. You feel me? But yeah, don't ever doubt. Don't ever doubt.
I don't understand why why they just have so many random people on their show. They even had a brief podcast with Long Beach Griffey, who's like a YouTube skit guy, which
Oh, they did? I didn't even know that.
was really random.
I
But
fuck with Long
regardless,
Beach.
The only way that all of these random hosts were going viral was with controversial moments. Like when his co-host Almighty Suspect got into a fight with one of their guests.
Bro, Ben Franklin knows who I am.
Out of here.
He knows who the fuck I am. I'm
You
getting
said
money
what?
every day. I said
You
Ben
said-
Franklin knows who the fuck I am.
Who you calling a bitch
Franklin, I'm
though?
called.
See, that's my thing. People just start coming and then just start wilding out, showing the worst parts, and then you got this. You got the ringleader. You know, them RDC videos of like Mark being like the best instigator. This is what this nigga is doing right now. He just like, yo, I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't gonna calm the vibe down. I'm gonna wait till y'all get y'all viral moment. Then I might say something. But get your viral moment. And it's just about hella hotheads in this. Well, you gotta see the end. What happens with all this shit, man.
You a bitch.
Like, you see that? Like, what is this? What is this?
Fights like this and intense arguments between hosts, co-hosts, and guests over time became a common occurrence on the No Jumper platform.
How did you and Kevo get into it to begin with?
He was
Like,
out chasing up
Man,
Kevo.
shut up. I just said let the man talk.
What'd you say, Kevo? Bro, suck my dick, bro. That's a.
Hey, stop
bro.
playing before I smack you.
Do it.
You see, like, there's no. You see, remember that video I made? Well, I think 2 lives ago, when I was talking about all the bullshit that people be doing instead of just squabbling up, like just throwing hands for a little bit and then squashing whatever beef they have. But now you got dudes spitting on each other. Like, what is that? What is that? And why he still got the tag on his pants, bruv? What is this? But yeah, like, just scrap up, do what you gotta do. At the end, be like, yo, you know what? You right, I was bugging. And then shake on it and then let it be settled. Instead of doing this, like, spitting on somebody is like one of the worst things that somebody can do. Like I told y'all, I'm reformed. I'm reformed. But you spit on me, that's a whole different kind of thing. Don't do that.
Hey, no.
Like, that's just nasty.
Watch out. We ain't doing that.
Nasty, man.
I'll beat the f out of you, no, man. I'll beat the f out of you, no, man.
Yo, nah, he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do that, man. I did it. No, let me stop because my English isn't even perfect. But there, you ain't had to do it like that with the editing, bro. You didn't have to do that shit. Oh shit, and it's like the most played part. That's evil, brother.
Watch out. We ain't doing that. Watch out.
You guys hear that?
I'll beat the f out of you, no, man. I'll beat the f out of you, no, man.
Literally, as more and more people began coming on the platform and Adam began hiring all of these people, so many fights broke out. Like I mentioned earlier, it seemed as if No Jumper had just began chasing these viral moments rather than actually setting out to make good content or thought-provoking interviews.
Cheers, bro. Oh, cuz. Uh-oh. My nigga Bill in this motherfucker, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, Slim Jimmy. Wait, that is Slim Jimmy, right? Yeah, that's Slim Jimmy.
Oh, hold on.
I ain't gonna lie, he looked like my uncle. You look like a typical Nigerian uncle right there, man. Chibeze. No, Chibike.
Oh,
Crazy.
hold on, bro. Hey, hold on.
I think a fan summed it up best in a comment where they said, "No Jumper was like watching a group of high school kids try to run a podcast." And it's true, it had become like a modern day world star damn near, where the focus of the content was just low hanging fruit, low IQ entertainment.
Yeah.
Like, look at this thumbnail and title, bro. It just looks like some 2015 clickbait YouTube garbage content. No Jumper had began turning into a reality TV show, and fans were not happy. Even Adam would eventually admit that it probably wasn't the best idea to chase virality all of the time on the podcast.
Those viral moments, for the most part, were kind of like destructive
Yeah,
to what we were building.
Of course.
And really, like, yeah, it might have been fun in the moment, or it might.
But that's the thing, as ringleader, you're supposed to be like, yo, this is the time to pull in the reins, you know what I mean? Like, you just letting them pop off and shit. Eventually, as you see now with the whole criminal RICO thing, you keep inviting people who are messy and people who, like, let's be honest, they have a bunch of skeletons in their closet and stuff. You keep inviting people like that onto your platform instead of just like focus on, like, yo, what do people actually want to see that they'll keep coming for? You know what I mean? Pause on that last statement. But yeah, instead of working on that, you're working on just chasing the virality. Yeah, I attempted that word. I ain't attempting it again. Virality? Yeah, virality. You're attempting virality and you're not making anything of substance. Like, your whole thing is just like, what? With the whole plug talk stuff and that, it's hella lust. That's it. You know? And I ain't gonna say that I'm the most perfect person. I'm not. I'm not. But damn, I probably got family watching this. Let me chill out. But yeah, like, I don't understand what he thought was gonna happen. You know what I mean? And mind you, I still got. It's not only for him. I got the same energy for someone like Vlad. I got the same energy for people like academics and stuff like that. Like, I got energy for all of them about the way they run their thing. But then again, they're successful right now and I'm not. But that doesn't mean that I'm wrong. It probably just means that what they got going on is working right now. But in time, we'll see. I'll get up there. Let me not say probably. I will get up there. But yeah, he had the opportunity to be like, yo, let's cut it right here. We're not gonna go further with the bullshit. Let's cut it. But nah, he didn't want it. He wanted people just to do what they gonna do.
Like, I'm watching, like, you know, react to like clips from No Jumper at one point, and he's saying like, "Bro, this looks like a hostile workplace. Like, people are just being too aggressive towards each other, etc. Like, this is not." And I'm kind of watching it like, yeah.
But it wasn't just because of the controversy, the fights, and the randoms that were always hosting No Jumper that caused it to fail. In part, it was the fact that none of them could seem to get along. The many hosts on this platform began to beef with one another, and a lot of that was fueled by the No Jumper subreddit. Believe it or not, it was actually really obvious to fans that a lot of the people at No Jumper were actually reading the subreddit. They were making burners and constantly responding to and arguing with fans. But then the No Jumper host realized something. There was a lot of negative posts about the No Jumper host, except for Adam and his wife, Lena. Adam was a mod of the No Jumper subreddit, and he was actively removing anything negative about him and his wife, but leaving up tons of negative stuff about his co-host, his employees, and some people who he claimed were his friends. My friend 1111 actually interviewed a mod from the old No Jumper subreddit, and he explained that this was actually a huge deal for No Jumper.
Hold on, there's nothing never negative about Adam and his girl. We like, hold on, that's cool, it's fine. But now that we see that they're mods, it's crazy because there's something negative about AD's girl, my girl.
People could be getting dragged to hell, but that could stay up. But anything Adam and Lena related, oh, it could go down in an instant.
As a moderator of the page, Adam had been banning accounts and deleting posts if they were made about him or Lena, but left them up no matter how bad they were about fellow hosts in their personal lives. After seeing this, our mod guy here then started unbanning these users and apologizing, which Adam clearly did not like and led to him being removed as a mod.
The No Jumper people were so involved in the Reddit that some key info got leaked by a host onto the Reddit from a burner account. Then this caused like a whole bunch of drama on the IRL No Jumper podcast. This wasn't just Reddit anymore, this was real life, which is crazy because this whole Reddit incident caused a huge fallout between Lush, Flacco, AD, and Adam. And this was not the only infighting that occurred. Remember how earlier I said House Phone was with Adam from like the beginning of No Jumper? Well, they also had a falling out after Adam interviewed a transgender woman named Gracie Jane. In this podcast, they talked about how she had hooked up with House Phone.
Oh, come on. You've already sold out entire life here.
Yeah, well.
Did that look down upon to expose that somebody may have been with a trans person? If,
Yeah, absolutely. I signed NDAs and I take them very seriously, so just letting everybody
you didn't
know
get
that.
one, I'm guessing?
You didn't bring me, okay.
Seems like I'm worried about people calling me a bad friend for just not editing this and
bad
putting it out.
friend.
Sure,
You
you're mad
are.
at me, but I'm just...
He's just gonna be, well, how about this? Acting like you didn't do something that you did.
Okay. Like, he is though. But that's the thing. Homie don't really. What's the word when you know whatever you're doing is bad, but you still do it anyway, but you're trying to pretend that you actually care about it? Whatever that word is, a lot of people are like that right now these days, especially like with politics and stuff. But you are a bad friend. Like, certain things you should keep on the podcast and stuff, and certain things you should keep out of them. You feel me? If homie wasn't ready to speak about all of that stuff, then why even pressure this person or bring this person up to the podcast to try to expose him or some shit? That's weird.
You did do it, you know you did.
I've been friends with him for like, and I just don't want to be like
the truth
out,
is the
you know.
truth.
Apparently House Phone and Adam had talked about it before it went live, and he asked Adam to cut that part. But then Adam claimed that he told his editor to censor everything about House Phone. He did show the text, and he did show the part where he said that he just wanted it cut, and the editor accidentally left it in. And fans very quickly pieced together who Adam was talking about in this interview. Fans were extremely upset with Adam, commenting things like, Adam's not a bad friend. He's not a friend at all. He doesn't respect any of his employees. He's just scared of half of them. Another said, the fact this interview is still up speaks volumes. Eventually, House Phone confronted Adam on the podcast, and things got very serious.
You're talking about, yeah, he's been going through the mom shit. He's been going through the health. You talking about the person that fucking raised me, that birthed me, my best friend that died? Oh, just, he's been going through the mom shit.
But are you actually acting like I have some kind of disrespect for your mom when
You're disrespectful as I paid for the fucking
First of all,
funeral
as soon as it happened, just because.
Taking off his coat like he gonna do something. Man, stop it.
Because of all of the beefs between hosts, Adam, and the fans, half of the No Jumper cast left between like 2022 and 2024. After this incident, the entire subreddit actually turned on Adam because he was deleting every post about the situation. So the fans created a subreddit called No Jumper V2, which was unmoderated, became very popular, and was very critical of Adam and No Jumper. It's really weird, and you'll notice this throughout the video, but it's like No Jumper has a really strong core fan base, but that fan base kind of just hates No Jumper. It's really interesting. Anyways, because of all the issues Adam had with his co-hosts and employees, it eventually led to him getting called out and exposed multiple times for some pretty controversial things. I'm not going to go too deep into this because this could be like a whole hour-long video in and of itself, but basically Adam was allegedly involved in some weird things that were dug up on the internet that involved minors. An old blog post of his was dug up where he said, now any of the math inclined out there are probably reading this and thinking something like, she's 19 now, you were 23 then. How old was she then? Well, she was 16. But come on, man, look at her. She's 18 or 19 in most of the pics here, but she didn't look much different at all then. If statutory rape is wrong, I didn't want to be right. Now I can make the argument that the age of consent is 16 in Canada, although I'm sure that traveling from America to Canada to have sex with a minor is still legal as hell. But really, fucking argument, She was stupid hot, and I wanted in. Now, to be
That's
fair to
such
Adam,
a
he never said
freaky
in his post
frog,
that they hooked
bro.
up
What-
around that
what's
time.
wrong
He said
with
that he
this
actually
man?
started dating a different girl, and then after Adam and that girl started dating, by that point this girl was 19. So then they hooked up, which I think some people would classify as grooming. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually researched an entire video about all of these like weird sexual controversies that Adam 22 was involved in, but it was a long time ago, and I was just coming off a cease and desist, so I was kind of scared to post this one, to be honest. So I never did, but I have a ton of research on all of this stuff, and there was a bunch more weird things that he got caught up in, like on a super old forum from 2006, when after being asked the age range of girls he's been with, he said, "I don't think I've done any 17-year-olds since besides the one last year. Also, I'm 22 right now." He also said on this forum, 15's a good age. That last one was probably like a 2006 edgy joke, but still, it's really weird. This is why a lot of people turned on Adam 22, and a lot of people even started calling him Adam 16. Regardless, because of all of this stuff, a lot of people did not like Adam 22, whether they were fans of No Jumper or not. It seemed like the overall hip-hop community as well was not a fan of Adam 22, nor his platform, because of how controversial they had become. And that's why I have this theory that a lot of artists are no longer going on No Jumper for interviews, especially bigger ones, because it doesn't look good for their PR teams. On top of all of this, Adam was also dipping his toes into political podcasts, which just isn't ever going to come without controversy, especially when he's having people like Nick Fuentes and Sneeko on. So not only was the entire crew falling apart, but people were beginning to hate the main guy himself, Adam 22. And on top of all of that, No Jumper had really began to lose their identity as a platform in general. Over time, hip-hop content stopped becoming the main focus of No Jumper, and they started talking about one of two things. First, they started interviewing a ton of porn stars. If you didn't know, Adam 22 started an adult film media thing with his wife Lena called Plug Talk. So porn stuff is something that he's been involved in a lot over the last couple of years. Also, he went mega viral for letting his wife do some solo content with another guy.
Crazy work.
Definitely changed fans'
Hey,
opinion on him. A
yo.
lot of people now view him as a cuck and a sellout and all sorts of things. Regardless, because
See, you stop respecting yourself. You start letting everything just let me probably skip a little bit. You just let yourself do all that crazy stuff and let the internet know that you don't respect your union with your wife and everything like that. It's also like what I say with when people start talking to me about like polygamy, or when people start talking to me about like open relationships and stuff like that. If you want to do that, that's your prerogative, but you can never in a million years convince me that it's normal, because we have yet to see a relationship like that fully work. In honesty, we haven't seen that fully work. We haven't. And like it's crazy, because a bunch of people be like, hey, why do you care about this and that? Because if someone at that height makes it look cool and like gets into the mind of like young people, like super young kids and stuff like that, and he's messing with kids, like if he gets into the mind of those kids like that, those young kids start thinking that stuff is normal, and then they start thinking like debauchery stuff is normal and stuff like that, when it's not. Like, mind you, I'm saying I'm not the perfect person in relationships. I'm definitely wasn't the best in the past, but it isn't until I start realizing like, hey, maybe I shouldn't be doing all this other stuff. Maybe I shouldn't be just in this relationship for one thing or another. You feel me? Maybe it means more than just, hey, do you want to come over type shit. Like, it's weird. It's not weird. It's just you start seeing people like that do crazy stuff like that, but then years later they're the same people who be like, yo, what happened to relationships? This person cheated on me. Because in your relationship you put it like technically there is no cheating, because you guys can just pick whoever you want. And then Adam, he traded all that for money. He traded his wife's dignity and his dignity for money. Bruh, if you catch me ever doing something like that in the future, it's not me, it's a clone. I give you permission. If it's a clone, I give you permission to do what you gotta do, man. But yeah, Shit's crazy. Shit's all the way crazy.
Way. But the other thing that caused problems with fans was how deep into gang stuff Adam and the host of No Jumper were getting involved in. And this may actually play a hand into why No Jumper is going broke, or at least that he's claiming they are. If you guys, like myself, haven't been tuned into No Jumper except for maybe the occasional interview once a year, or if you're just not very in the loop at all, No Jumper has regularly been having a lot of LA gang members on, and they frequently talk about gang-related things, and recently that's come back to bite them. Brick Baby, who I mentioned earlier, and Loose Cannon were recently indicted on a RICO, and both of these guys frequented No Jumper. They were connected to a guy named Big U, who allegedly is like the leader of a gang called the Rollin' 60s Crips. I don't know much about gang stuff, and I'm not going to pretend to, but basically it's a bunch of gang-affiliated people hanging around No Jumper all the time and discussing what they do on the actual show. Wack 100, another guy who is heavily involved in the music industry and is heavily affiliated with No Jumper, is also affiliated with Big U, and there's even a clip of Adam trolling him about it on the podcast.
You see, and the problem is, right? We as a community, a lot of us love this stuff, man. We love watching the crash outs. We love watching this and that. And when someone tries telling us like, hey, alright, so you love all this violent stuff, but let somebody else do it to you, you start crying. It sounds fucked up, but that's really how it is. Like, people be like, yo, man, I won't call the police, da, da, da. But then when their car gets stolen or somebody robs them or some shit, the first person they call is the police. So I never understood that shit, bro. And I like, personally, I feel like everyone who's grown up the way I did, you have at least some friends who are into some other stuff, like into some stuff like some crazy shit. But I know, I tell them, yo, if you're doing anything, bro, don't tell me. If I'm not gonna be driving in the same car with you, we can kick it. We can kick it sometimes, like on a neutral, like on some neutral shit. We can kick it, but I'm not trying to get caught up just because of the nonsense that you did that I have nothing to do with. You feel me? And plus, like, birds of a feather flock together. You feel me? I'm not trying to be in all that, because all that comes with always constantly looking down your shoulder. You start getting irritated super quick, and there's just a lot of just bad things associated with just living that kind of lifestyle, bro. That's why before I used to, like I told you guys before I used to crash out on the daily. But once my brother started showing me the Boondocks episode with the Booty Warrior, bro, that scared the nonsense out of me. So that's one reason I stopped. And then the other reason I stopped was like, the thing with like just crashing out and someone say something and you beat that person up is somebody else always thinks they're better than you, and they come and then they start problems. Then you had to get in trouble for putting hands on the other person. But because another person see that, they're like, you know what, I could beat that guy. I'm pretty sure I could beat that guy. So then that happens, and then people around you start thinking that, yo, you just hella violent and stuff. Like the same way I was just talking before. Like, you cool people, but I don't want to be around you because I know the energy you bring around you, type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit, it's a never ending cycle. And then eventually, like with most people, most boxers, fighters will tell you, you could be like in your prime, you could be like the top Dundada, you can be the like Top Gun, but then eventually you get your ass beat. Eventually they put the beats on you. You feel me? They put the hands on you. And then you realize you're not at the top no more. Then from that one loss, you start getting beat up on the constant. It's just violence begets violence. You feel me? And I'm trying to be non-violent. I'm trying not to be on the mix. That's why I like chilling in my crib. I'm a homebody, bro. I like chilling in my crib if I'm not making videos or playing games or just bettering my editing skills or learning something. I'm just chilling, man. I don't need to be out in the mix. I don't need to be mixy, none of that. But these guys thrive on it. And it's always so sad to see people just go out and make like a fool of themselves, because then you realize like the world's not laughing with you like you're a good comedian or whatever. They're laughing at you because they think you're stupid. It's like, oh, I was about to say, it's like going to the zoo and watching a monkey dance, but the connotations in that joke is crazy. But you know what I mean.
What's up with this screenshot that Traplo Ross sent me of you begging Big U not to kill you?
That's cap. That's an AI.
It's in the indictment. It's in the indictment that you were saying, don't do this. My wife, my kids in the car. Draws. Don't do this.
That's not a text message.
As someone who hasn't been tapped into No Jumper for years, it's so weird seeing him talk about all this really serious gang stuff rather than just like interviewing people. And I don't think that most fans are really into this sort of content either.
When I see Lovejoy basically putting a murder on Big U and claiming that he's looking for information about it or whatever, this is very confusing to me. Like, how in any way is this acceptable?
There's so much more detail to this, and I'm not really educated on it. It's like a really giant web of stuff. So if you want to learn more, I would check out this video by Point and Shoot. It's really good, and it really captures what's going on right now with the gang stuff. But regardless, if you guys want a more simplified version, there's basically just a ton of gang-related people hanging out around No Jumper, and a bunch of dummies were talking about this stuff publicly on the platform. It also got to the point where people were calling Adam the feds because he was encouraging all of this self-snitching on his show.
Brother, okay, this is another point, especially like a lot of people have with like DJ Vlad and shit. Is it weird how they formulate their questions and stuff? Yes, but the same way that's true, it's also true that a lot of these dudes just don't think like that. You know, they like they will be excited to go and make content like this. They'll be excited to do that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's different when you're excited to spill all the stories about yourself, and no one is forcing these dudes to get on these shows at gunpoint and be like, yo, tell me all your secrets. Like, no one's doing that. These people probably like, yo, I can get clout, because clout and nostalgia are the two biggest drug addictions right now. Clout and nostalgia. It's crazy.
Asking questions the police could possibly use. I mean, look at this clip.
I saw this video that alleged that it was you involved in this crazy ass shootout. What was that situation?
Oh, I thought the video paused for a second.
Maybe it might not have been you. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I don't think it was me.
Okay, but that wasn't related to any of the cases that you caught. Well played. Okay.
So eventually, after the Crips who hung around No Jumper got picked up, the police actually went to Adam. Wack 100 claimed that he got arrested, but Adam cleared that up and said that never happened, with some even claiming this was a publicity stunt.
A lot of claims being made. Wack 100 said you got picked up by the feds. And I asked you, where's that coming from?
I mean, Wack got an overactive imagination, to say the least. I was not picked up by the feds, but they did pay a visit to my residence. And my lawyer spoke to them, and they made it clear that I'm not in any kind of trouble right now. I'm not being investigated. But what they did want to get their hands on, which is kind of crazy, is that they wanted to see the cease and desist that we received from Big U maybe a year ago, that basically was requesting that we remove a podcast appearance in which Loose Cannon said that Big U had prior knowledge of Nipsey Hussle's death before it actually happened.
Regardless, the police definitely watched some No Jumper to help themselves in this case.
I see a lot of people saying that 22 is the reason why Brick got caught up.
out of here. 22, you know what I do. I put people in position, put them on the podcast, give them jobs, help them make legal money. A lot of the shit that people are getting caught up for, especially with Bray, it's like, I'm not seeing anything that says anything about stuff that he's done in the last 2 years since he's been with us, right? So, you know, end of the day, I do employ people from the streets. And I guess, you know, people from the streets sometimes get caught up in federal RICO indictments, whatever this shit is.
But lots of fans still blame Adam. The reason I bring all of this up is because it got so hectic, and I can't imagine being a fan of No Jumper from the early days and seeing the entire platform turn into tons of people that nobody knows, a bunch of interviews, and just gang-related stuff all the time. After the news about No Jumper going broke came out, a lot of fans began to theorize that the reason he said he's going to make all of these changes and the fact that they're going broke was because he got too wrapped up into the gang stuff. Like one fan commented, "I smell a move and rebrand from street gang members back to rappers. Who wants to bet?" Another person said, "Nah, y'all going broke because you keep bringing them corny ass artists and gang members on. Don't nobody want to hear that shit." Which I think really amplifies the public sentiment. Regardless, after everything that's gone down the past like 5 years, I don't think most fans feel too bad for Adam. 2 years before this even happened, a fan said on Reddit, "The collapse of No Jumper needs to be studied in business schools as a case study on how poor leadership can cause a company to collapse." Every decision made by Adam literally is the opposite of what he should have done. From not drawing up proper contracts with staff, him literally being missing from the office half the time, leaving Josh to handle staff, exposing your friend and longtime employee, to publicly embarrassing and firing an employee on air, the list is long of all the terrible management decisions made by No Jumper and Adam specifically. Another fan on Reddit said this, "No Jumper has become a cesspool of sensationalism and superficiality. What started as a platform for underground culture has devolved into a parade of clout chasing and cringeworthy interviews. The hosts seem more interested in creating drama and viral moments than in delivering any actual hip-hop content. The lack of depth and constant pandering to the lowest common denominator makes it hard to take the whole channel seriously." Someone responded saying, "This ain't a hip-hop channel, it's a gang channel at this point." Clearly, No Jumper has lost their way, and it's finally being reflected in their finances. I think a really good contrast to the No Jumper channel is the Joe Budden podcast, because over the years, he's just really maintained a hip-hop focused and centric discussion, and hasn't chased clout, tried to go viral, or any of that stuff, at least too much. Whereas the No Jumper podcast just devolved into a huge mess with everything I've described in this video. So maybe Adam will try to take the channel back to its roots, but after all of the controversy and things he's been exposed or called out for, I doubt they will ever get back to where they once were. I could probably have made this video 2 hours, but I wanted to kind of get this news out a little bit sooner. It's like 4 a.m. and I'm really tired, so if you guys like this video, you might like my video about MTV and their corporate downfall as well. It's not doing too hot, so you guys should check it out. It's a really good video, I promise. You guys should check that out.
Might check it out next stream.
Leave a like and consider subscribing down below. Other than that,
yeah, that's a good video though. I'll give it to him. You deserve that, man. Again, pretty much, yeah, everything he said. I'm not gonna watch another video on the topic because he basically expressed everything I wanted to say about the topic. Me personally, I was gonna make a video too, but again, like he said, it was gonna be long as hell. Wasn't trying to do all that, but again, I appreciate all you guys for watching and everything. Keep fucking with the videos, and who knows, maybe next week. Oh, next week is Easter Sunday though. Maybe I might drop 2 streams then, and 2 streams and 2 videos. If this current video that I put out on Friday does well, that's what I'm gonna do. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys for showing hella love to the channel and everything. And I'll catch you guys later. Follow my links and all that, so you guys can see me throughout the week and what I do. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace. Love you guys.